In the last episode, we covered the Amazon fulfillment centers and how horrible it is to work in one of these modern-day sweatshops. But what about the office side? What about life in the corporate world at Amazon? Are the generous compensation packages worth it? What about life at AWS, Amazon Web Services, a line of business that generates over $60 billion in revenue? Amazon's cloud computing solutions have been taking the business world by storm, and the money keeps pouring in, partly because it's not so easy to switch once you're inside the Amazon ecosystem and they have their tentacles all over your data. Amazon is always hiring. So let's find out what it's actually like to work here. Here's what Amazon employees had to say on Glassdoor.com. Toxic environment. Pros: pay, benefits. Trust me, you'll need therapy. Cons: they are not really work from home. Managers, not leaders. Zero communication. Managers retaliate and use you as a scapegoat because you're replaceable. Everyone warns you, but you think this team will be different. Trust me, it's not. Not a career company. Pros: it is good to get the experience of a high-pressure, very fast-paced company, but that comes with a steep price. Cons: I work in a corporate position. It is an incredible amount of hours and pressure, definitely not for those that value time with family or their free time. It may be worth it for professionals young in their career, but certainly not for those with tenure and those who have families. I would not recommend Amazon to any friends or family, period. Great place to purchase items, horrible place to work. Advice to management: you need to figure out a way not to burn people out. Young managers and leadership are robots. You'll never retain talent with the current pace and mindset. Imagine working for the richest mammal to ever walk the planet. Pros: coworkers could sometimes be pretty swell. Cons: if you have a conscience, pretty much everything. If you can block out the bleak shadow of late-stage capitalism, you can make some scruples and earn up to a 4% annual raise. Advice to management: middle management does not care about anything beyond what's immediately in front of them. If they say they do, it's just to get on to the next conversation or task. Not necessarily their individual fault, but it's a feature of the Amazon ecosystem to overwork and push employees while trying to distract that Papa Jeffrey is exploiting the labor force from top to bottom. Work here if you want to stagnate your career for several years in a cutthroat, self-centered environment. Never accept work as a Sydney data center technician. Life advice. Pros: smart but also arrogant people. Cons: clear career progression path advertised in job ads is a lie. Automation increasing, so skilled technicians not wanted anymore. AWS now mostly wants unskilled trainees so they can pay them low salaries. No pay increases in annual reviews for senior technicians. No job security, and managers bully senior technicians to leave or find reasons to fire them. People leave almost every month now, and the same job ad is always open. Toxic environment, and employees burnt out because managers make employees compete with each other. I think we should just appreciate the fact that these people really do not care about work-life balance in Australia, right? That's a country where people have options. Not equal opportunity and big promotions in this team are always white Aussies. Night shifts. Warehouse job urinating in bottles is better than this. Advice to management: we all know what your agenda is and how you exploit us and find legal loopholes to fire hard workers. There is no need to pretend that you care. Relieved to be out of Amazon Web Services and sad, as it could be a great company. Pros: wages were competitive, but you are locked in on what you start on. You will need to leave and come back to get a pay rise. Promotions are harder than getting hired. Cons: work-life balance is horrendous. Stress levels very high as a technical program manager. Massive turnover in staff and non-stop reorgs means you are continuously reinventing the wheel. AWS networking refused to invest in proper PM tools. It felt like Groundhog Day all the time. The company is woke to the point of being ridiculous. which I think is a common theme now in most big tech companies. Relieved to be moving on, it feels like a meat grinder. It could be a great company, but it seems the policy is to burn staff out and bring in fresh replacements. Wasn't worth it. Pros: fast-paced environment, willing to take risks. Cons: poor training, tracking, accountability, and support structures. When I started at Amazon, I read the negative reviews and thought I could handle it. I had previously worked for fast-paced companies with rank and stack and accountability systems. I did well. However, at Amazon, the teams and locations that are not even remotely alike are ranked and stacked. Low performers are put on performance improvement plans with made-up numbers and documentation. There was literally no reporting at the employee level. Higher-level employees were promoted frequently to different projects, so they weren't there to face consequences of this poor direction. I worked 60 to 80 hours a week for years with no end in sight. I regularly received calls while sleeping or on weekends. Keeping talent is unnecessarily difficult. Leadership promotion opportunities at lower levels heavily favor outside hires to inside promotions and pay 20% more for outside versus internal promotions, to the point that people leave for a year or so and then plan to come back for better pay treatment. This sounds moronic. On a personal note, I had the worst experience I ever had from a leader across 20 years of professional experience. The leader over me was in line for promotion and spent daily public calls berating me and my team. Everyone who has worked there more than 2 years had a horror story about some previous member of leadership who yelled and cursed at people under them. Just like anywhere else, your experience depends a lot on your manager. Speaking as someone who was in leadership, there's a lot of pressure to write up people and work them out without the supporting due diligence and training and help. Plenty of people work there and love it. I got mental health issues and lasting physical problems. I regret working there and probably will regret it for the rest of my life. Bad manager. I'm seeing a trend here. Pros: everyone is crazy smart. It's cool to work with a group of people who run as fast as you can and do things so quickly. Cons: the culture is toxic. It's critical to the point that it is rude, abrasive, demoralizing, and extremely offensive on a personal level. I was told that I could not advance to senior leadership because I, quote, couldn't possibly be able to manage the working hours while having 3 young kids at home. I'd left just 4 weeks after that exact comment. Thrown under the bus. Pros: decent compensation and good on my resume. Cons: I was hired onto a team with 100% outside hires, so there was no institutional knowledge to learn from. All of my work was on services my team did not own, and the team that did own them had no real investment in what I was doing, so getting support was like pulling teeth. From there, it was apparent that I would be better off on a different team. After interviewing internally, I had several offers. I decided to do the right thing and let my manager know I was planning to transfer out. 5 minutes after that meeting, I was informed, oops, you're actually flagged as underperforming and just haven't been informed of that in any way until now. Convenient. A few weeks later, I was given a PIP with impossible goals, so I took my severance and moved on. It was very clear to me that once I had no use for my manager, I was let go to avoid having to deal with finding someone else within the group to let go. I am so much happier not being at Amazon anymore. Well, these reviews have confirmed my worst fears and suspicions. I think anyone who has worked in Silicon Valley has heard these stories firsthand, but it's nice to get some confirmation from Glassdoor. If you guys have experience at Amazon on the corporate side, let us know in the comment section, and as always, subscribe for more.